Welcome back to another episode of T.E.A Talks. Today we are discussing whether Google Ads actually work for home, garden and lifestyle brands. So if that's you, if you are within one of those brands, you are definitely going to want to listen in to this episode. And I'm joined once again by my partner in crime, Conrad. Producer Darren is over there. And we've got a really interesting topic today, mate. So welcome back. And I cannot wait to get into this one. So we're going to get into, do Google Ads work for home, garden, lifestyle brands? Quick fire, do they work, yes or no?
Yes.
Right. Hope you enjoyed that episode of T.E.A Talks. We'll see you next time. I'm joking. But yeah, so let's get it. So, but also, do we think then that if we think Google Ads, and I think what we can do in this episode is we can really look at what we're doing, having working across numerous home, garden, lifestyle brands, because we get the benefit of working on different accounts, different products, different sizes of businesses, and we're doing a lot of Google Ads.
We do.
So what I want to know first then is, are we still saying that we think it does, what role does Google Ads have for home, garden, lifestyle brands? What do you think? What are your initial thoughts?
Absolutely huge. So from e-commerce all the way to lead gen, Google Ads or Google is the search engine people go to search for products and services. So
is it still though? Is it because everyone, you've only got to look on socials and it's TikTok's the new Google and no one uses Google anymore. So is it? I'm going to challenge it. Is it? Are people still using Google?
Yes, they are. Well, the problem with that narrative about TikTok being the next big thing in the world of search is that yes, it is a huge search engine, but within TikTok realm, it is a big search engine. But people do not go to TikTok with an intent to search for things. People search for things when they are within TikTok.
Yeah,
that's the main.
So we're saying difference. Google still has a role to play.
Google still has a role to play, and it's still the biggest search engine in the world.
Slightly, but by some margin. So no, and it is, and I think it's we're looking at data every day. We're looking at client accounts every day, and we're not seeing any sense of diminishing returns or lack of interest or use of Google. I mean, the volumes are still huge, right?
Absolutely. As a search engine, as an advertising platform, Google is here to stay. And as much as we can just sort of say that, TikTok is so amazing, well, I mean, it is a great little
it plays a role. It absolutely plays a role.
But it's not going to replace Google anytime soon.
And I think because we'll come back onto the Google Ads, but actually it's a really important point because I think Google is still the dominant search engine in the UK. It's like 85% market share. It varies, but it's up there. It's in terms of the market share that it has in the UK. What we are seeing and what we're reading is, and I think because brands, they might know this, they might not, but what we are seeing is that obviously how Google is evolving, which then impacts Google Ads. Google itself is evolving. It's leaning more into AI. You've got this SGE, this search generative experience, that's just starting to be brought out into the the Google kind of search results pages. So we are seeing changes within Google, but I think fundamentally, and what we say when we're talking to brands is, look, are people still going to ask questions? Are they still going to have need answers to questions? Still going to be looking? They still need to find products and services. Well, as long as people are continuing to have questions and want to find things, Google's going to have a role.
That's exactly that, and people will be both searching and purchasing through Google, and that's the main place to go. I mean, Google is a virtual verb.
Yeah, it's so basic and kind of obvious. Yeah. But I think it's worth kind of almost just reiterating that point. And whilst Google had to bring it back, onto the topic of today's T Talk, whilst Google is the prominent search engine, and whilst people use Google, of which we're seeing that not dissipate in any way, shape, or form, Google Ads is going to play a key role, right? And that's definitely what we're seeing. So I'm trying to think of our client portfolio. Yeah. The client, almost all of our clients, if not all of them, are running Google Ads in some shape or form, aren't they? In fact, I think every single one of them is.
Absolutely. So it's either our e-com clients or our service-based clients. They will go for
different types of campaign strategies, which we're seeing.
But it is the default go-to advertising platform.
Yeah, no, it is. So if I just think of some of the questions that I know the brands that will be watching this will be asking themselves is, okay, I've done Google Ads, I'm doing Google Ads, or I'm considering Google Ads, depending, who knows the level of return they're getting. What should spend is always a topic that brands want to know. We were having a conversation yesterday with a couple of prospects, and one of the first, what do I need to spend to see a return? What do I need to spend as a kind of an entry level to sort of be able to test the water? What are your thoughts on kind of minimum levels of spend to actually do this well?
incredibly controversial, but I think unless you've got a more than £100 a day to spend on Google Ads,
Okay.
I would not go anywhere near it. And there is two reasons for that. So first of all, if you spend less than £3,000 a month, first, you will not see the returns in terms of ROAS and ROI. And secondly, probably you will spend more in service charges.
Yeah. Well, if you work with an
running your
agency
ads.
such as ourselves, you don't want to be spending so much on management fee that you've only got a few quid left to spend on ads. If you are at that point, you're spending only a few £100s or maybe one or two grand a month, you're probably better either doing it in your house or probably getting a freelancer to support. So I think that it makes sense, and I think the reason we say kind of £100 a day is a kind of a good threshold to sort of have in your mind, which works out 3K plus a month in terms of ad spend. The reason for that is because when you just run the math, if you run £100 a day, you think, well, that sounds like a lot of money, £100 a day. But actually, when you then think, well, we might be running 2 or 3, 4 different campaigns. Just within Google, this is, okay, well, if you're running 4 campaigns, suddenly, if you split that budget evenly, you've only got £25 per campaign per day. If you then factor in your average CPC, so your cost per click, depends on the sector, depends on the industry, but you could be spending it from pennies up to pounds per click. You can quickly run the math and doing a little research, either yourself or your agency could do. You can quickly see, okay, we're only going to get 10 clicks a day, 20 clicks a day. And then you can look historically at your own data to sort of go, well, on average, how many visitors am I getting to my website? And then how many sales am I making? You can extrapolate that to work out, if I get in 20 clicks a day, and I need 100 clicks to get one sale, hypothetically, it's going to take me 5 days to get one sale. And what have I spent to acquire that customer? So you can run some really simple math to work out why you need a certain level of investment.
And then depending on what kind of business you are, because if you're an e-commerce brand, for example, then suddenly that £100 is not going to take you very far, because then you will have different products essentially being bidded on different levels. So it's very important to get these budgets right and to actually have a very clear idea how much you will want to get out of what you've spent. And I think that's where you need to reverse engineer it. But yes, I would say that do not touch it below £100 a day.
Good stuff. What about campaign types then? Think of our clients. What campaign types are we running? What's working best for our brands right now?
Yeah, so for our e-commerce clients, we see a lot more reliance on Performance Max and shopping as opposed to search, for example. Whereas our lead gen clients or service-based clients, they will always lean more towards search because the intent is different.
What Performance Max? Because that was the bane of our lives a while back.
It really was.
It's got better. I think it's fair to say we still have a love-hate relationship with Performance Max.
We do.
We like that it's getting better and we're getting more control. What are your thoughts? But
Performance Max as a tool in itself, unless you know what you are doing, it can absolutely derail everything that you do on Google. So the problem with Performance Max is that it's so involved and it's got so many moving parts and it feeds to so many different areas of Google.
It's extremely powerful.
It is extremely
unbelievable,
powerful, but it's also a data hog. So essentially, if you let Performance Max take all your conversions on one product, it will then suddenly spend all your money on that very product. So you have to be very, very careful of that. But then if you look at how much of a return on investment you can get out of Performance Max, it beats all the other campaign types hands down. Mainly because it knows who to go after.
And just thinking of one of our clients that we've been discussing this week is with Performance Max. It's one of those. It's a funny platform, that isn't it? Because it's very easy to set up and run kind of out of the box. If you know, at a basic level, you can get it up and running pretty quickly, pretty easily, and it looks relatively straightforward. But like with most things with Google, once you actually start to really look under the hood and start to unpick it, that's where the real performance comes in, really knowing your stuff and really being able to make it work. And that's where it's quite difficult. And it's the thing we've seen with Performance Max over the last couple of years is we've done so much experimenting with it, is it's those little things that you can do that really make the big difference. But it's also, as with so many campaign types, what you put in is what you then get back out. And it is, as you say, it's a data hog, but it's also a conversion hog. So it wants those conversions. And what you've got to be careful is, and the tendency can be, we want to feed in lots of conversions because it will get better performance. And that's a narrative that a lot of agencies spin, is that we just need to just get lots and lots of conversions in because that will get better performance. That's fine. so long as you're putting the right conversions into the system. Because otherwise, what we've seen is, if you've got an add to basket goal, and then you've got a completion, a purchase completion goal.
Yeah.
If you're going to get way more add to baskets than you are completions, and if Performance Max, because it's a conversion hungry data tool and the way it works, it's gonna focus on those add to baskets with little to no care or attention on the actual completion, which is maybe if you're e-com, that's what you're focused on.
Because it's a stupid machine. It's only running on the algorithm that it actually learned. And the thing is that it doesn't have a comprehension of real life. It doesn't know what your business goals are.
Yeah.
All it knows is the data that you've fed it. So, I need more conversions. So, yay, excellent. I've got a conversion here. I'm going to feed more of those.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's but I think it's hopefully that's a nice little takeaway for the brands watching this is, if your data's looking like, and you're looking at Performance Max, in your dashboard, and you're going, well, we're getting loads of conversions, but the conversion value is just not there.
Yeah.
Look at what conversions you are feeding the machine, because it's so easy to have lots of conversions, and the amount of accounts we've looked at and gone, you've got so many here, and actually how many of them have an actual commercial value, really, really important. So moving on then from that, what bid strategies are we in favour of? What are we seeing? What's working? What are our favourites?
Again, for e-commerce brands, I would go very much for things like maximize clicks or target ROAS. Whereas for search or for brand awareness campaigns, I would go for, depending on what you really want to achieve. So for your brand awareness, I would possibly go for things like maximize clicks.
Yeah, because I think it also, because the other thing, the other thing to say is it depends on where the life cycle of your campaign, doesn't it, where you are. So we'll often start, depending on what type of campaign, quite like manual, because we want the control, we want to sort of test and measure, and then once we get the thing in full flow, we'll move over to maybe a max conversions or a max conversion value. I mean, for me personally, max conversion value is my favourite.
Yeah.
What's your favourite?
I would possibly say target ROAS.
Really interesting. Yeah, well, but I think it's horses for courses in the grand scheme of things. But for me, I just love that conversion value, because that is where it's quite good, because if you focus on the number of conversions, and particularly if you're e-com and you're selling products with a different range, if Performance Max, if it finds it easier to focus in on the products that maybe the lower value products, the products that sell more frequently, it's going to focus on more. Whereas if you said it's conversion value, all other things equal, it's going to focus on driving up that return on investment.
Yeah, but
so
the
really
beauty of it is that we can have completely different campaigns for different objectives as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. So last couple of quick sort of things I want to just get into then. One is the common mistakes. What are the mistakes we see with Google Ads if we think about the brands that, the home, garden, lifestyle brands that we are working on right now, we've signed a couple of clients this month. When we look at their accounts, we take that first look, what are the themes that we see most frequently, that mistakes they're making?
It's always conversion tracking.
Yeah.
It's always conversions. Conversions and tracking and attributions are not assigned correctly. So we then have got this massive snowball effect of data being not fed in correctly through the platforms. So the very first thing is to make sure that your conversion tracking is set up the way it's supposed to be, and it tracks the right things as well.
Yeah, and I would add to that the second point, completely agree with that. Conversion is almost every time it's not quite right. Some's better than others, but it's always the other thing I would add, retargeting, is just either not doing it, in which case do it. But even if they're doing it, it's are you feeding in the accurate data? Have you got your first-party data set up well? All of that stuff from a making sure you're re-engaged and you're remaining top of mind. Whatever it is you sell, whether you're e-commerce, whether you're lead, it doesn't matter, but staying top of mind for your customer or for the prospect beyond just that initial click. The amount of money brands are spending on that first click to get them onto the website. 98% of people that are going to click are going to leave.
Yes.
So retargeting is so powerful, and because if you set it up well, you're only retargeting the people that have been on your site. Therefore, they know you. They're familiar. Such a powerful thing, and we see so many mistakes with how that's set up because they haven't set up their audiences. They haven't built their custom segments. They haven't got their data set up correctly, and it's not being automatically pulled in. It's a whole T talk in itself, and maybe we'll do it as another episode. But we see that. Yeah, they're probably the two most conversion tracking and
they are,
and mistakes with their retargeting. Well, look, I think we pretty much. I think Darren's looking at us. He's going, Guys, time. So I think we're done. I think we're going to leave it there. It's such a big topic. I think you do Google Ads work for your home garden lifestyle brands. We've covered some. We've got a lot more. So we're going to leave it there. Hope you've enjoyed this T Talk, and we will see you on the next one. Take care.